moment the woman returned home, a luxury car was parked conspicuously at her door. Her heart tightened, sensing something was wrong, and she rushed into the house immediately. Sure enough, her adopted son was kneeling before an unfamiliar wealthy woman. She hurriedly stepped forward to ask who the woman was. The adopted son told her without hesitation. The wealthy woman was his biological mother. Hearing this news, the woman froze for a moment, then smiled and wiped her hands, trying to shake hands with the wealthy woman to show goodwill. But unexpectedly, the wealthy woman coldly stepped back and disdainfully refused her hand. Then the wealthy woman's attitude grew even colder. She directly demanded the adopted son cut ties with the woman. She made it clear she didn't want her son to carry the stain of a poor adoptive mother. The woman hadn't processed this yet, but the son she had raised for over 20 years chose betrayal at that moment. He firmly declared he wanted to sever all ties with her. The woman panicked and clutched her son's hand, asking if he really intended to abandon her. The adopted son coldly replied that he wasn't her biological child and had no responsibility to support her in her old age. He even turned around and tore down the awards hanging on the wall one by one, packing his things emotionlessly as he prepared to leave. The woman picked up a shattered photo frame and in a trembling voice told him, "If you're determined to leave, I won't stop you, but please take this only photo with you, so I can still be by your side in some way." The adopted son took the photo, but in the next second tore it to shreds, scattering the pieces into the air without care. Over the years, he had suffered endless ridicule because he had a pedicurist as a mother. Now he finally had the chance to escape. With that, he turned and walked away. The woman collapsed to the ground. She could never have imagined the child she had painstakingly raised could be so heartless, but no one could have foreseen the adopted son's cruelty would soon be met with retribution. It turned out the woman's true identity was the long-lost wife of the world's richest man. Years ago, the woman had a brief encounter with the billionaire, which resulted in her giving birth to triplets, but she was unfortunately set up by a scheming woman. The scheming woman bribed the doctor to claim the children as her own and deceived the billionaire, making him believe she was the woman from that night. Until years later, when the scheming woman passed away, the billionaire forced the truth out of the involved doctor and learned the biological mother of the children was the woman. Upon discovering the truth, the billionaire immediately contacted his 3 sons, and they all rushed to bring her home. At this moment, however, the woman was still desperately chasing after her adopted son. She couldn't bear to lose the child she had raised for so many years, but the adopted son had already made up his mind to leave. The wealthy woman suddenly stepped forward, feigning concern, urging the son not to be so heartless, but then turned around and humiliated the woman with a large sum of money. She said the money was enough to compensate for all the years of raising the child. The adopted son heartlessly advised his adoptive mother to accept the money. After all, it was more than she could ever earn in her lifetime. At this point, the woman was completely disheartened. She couldn't understand how the child she had raised through so much hardship could turn out like this. The wealthy woman's malice deepened further. She directly offered $20,000 to sell the woman to a village thug. Without her son's protection, the woman could only endure humiliation. But just at this desperate moment, the billionaire arrived with his 3 sons just in time. The moment the woman returned home, a luxury car was parked conspicuously at her door. Her heart tightened, sensing something was wrong, and she rushed into the house immediately. Sure enough, her adopted son was kneeling before an unfamiliar wealthy woman. She hurriedly stepped forward